I'm here to inspect. Huazulet, open up. Now. That was the first sentence Delilah Whitmore ever said to me. She didn't knock politely. She didn't introduce herself like a normal neighbor. She shoved my gate open like she owned the place and marched straight into my backyard with 3 people behind her, all holding phones like they were filming a crime scene. The smell of her heavy perfume hit before her words did, cutting through the charcoal smoke from the grill. My 15-year-old daughter Sophia froze mid-step and dropped her homework folder on the patio. Papers scattered everywhere. Delilah didn't even look at her. Full access inspection, she announced, pointing a manicured finger around my property. Shed, garden, trees, structures. HOA compliance check. Ich blinkte her. You're on private property, I said slowly. And there's no HOA here. Her smile tightened like she heard a joke. There will be, she replied. Then she lifted a clipboard. If you refuse access, daily fines begin immediately. $500 per day. Property lien within 30 days. Foreclosure proceedings after that. Behind her, one of the guys started measuring the distance between my workshop and the fence like he was surveying a battlefield. Another aimed a camera at my oak trees. I stood there in silence for a few seconds. Inside, anger was already rising like a storm. But I didn't show it. Instead, I smiled. Sure, I said calmly. Her eyebrows lifted slightly. Go ahead. Measure whatever you want. That was the moment everything began. But to understand why I let her walk all over my property that day, you need to know how this whole nightmare started. My name is Nathaniel Thompson. I'm 45 years old, a licensed electrician, and a single father. 2 years ago, my divorce wiped me out. My ex-wife took half the savings, half the house, and most of my patience for drama. So I bought a quiet corner property at the edge of Pinewood Springs. 2 acres backed up against state forest. No close neighbors on one side. Room for my electrical workshop. Room for Sophia to build the vegetable garden she always wanted. Most importantly, privacy. The first week there felt like freedom. Saturday mornings smelled like charcoal smoke and fresh dirt from Sophia's tomato beds. She'd invite her friend Maya over, and the 2 of them would laugh about school gossip while flipping burgers badly on the grill. The kind of normal life you start appreciating after a messy divorce. Our neighbor Earl Henderson used to sit on his porch rocking chair, watching everything like the unofficial historian of the street. One afternoon, he leaned over the fence and said quietly, "Good folks around here mostly." Then he nodded toward a perfectly manicured house across the road. Except that Whitmore woman. I followed his gaze. Delilah Whitmore's property looked like a military base disguised as suburbia. Every blade of grass identical. Flowers arranged like soldiers. Security cameras everywhere. She's got strong opinions about who belongs here, Earl added. The way he said belongs made my stomach tighten. 8 days after we moved in, she introduced herself. Fake smile. Polite tone. But the message underneath was crystal clear. This neighborhood has standards, she told me. Some residents struggle to meet them. When she heard I worked as an electrician, her smile sharpened. Oh, she said slowly. You work with your hands. Like it was something dirty. I knew right then she'd be trouble. The harassment started the next morning. Code enforcement showed up claiming my grass was too tall. The next day, another inspector arrived about deteriorating paint. Then a mailbox violation. Each complaint cost $75 and half a workday waiting for inspectors who kept apologizing and admitting someone anonymous had reported me. But day 12 was when things escalated. I came home from a job rewiring a restaurant kitchen and found Delilah standing in my driveway. Inside my driveway, photographing my house with a telephoto lens. That's private property, I said. She didn't even lower the camera. I'm documenting violations for the Homeowners Association. There is no HOA. Her smile returned. There will be. That night, I installed security cameras. Within a week, the footage revealed something disturbing. Delilah wasn't just reporting my house. She was watching it, recording when lights turned on, taking photos from neighboring yards, even snapping pictures when Sophia was home alone. That crossed a line. So I called a real estate attorney recommended by an older neighbor, Mrs. Vanessa. Her name was Hannah Rodriguez. She reviewed the documents Delilah had been using and laughed. These inspection papers mean nothing, she said. Real HOA authority comes from deed covenants. Without that, she has zero power. That's when I started paying closer attention. Over the next 2 months, Delilah escalated everything. Fake inspection teams, violation notices, threats of liens, threats of foreclosure. Then she started filing complaints with city departments, environmental inspectors, fire safety inspectors, zoning officers. My business nearly collapsed under the constant investigations. Meanwhile, my cameras kept recording everything she did, including late-night trespassing, including fake inspectors planting containers in my garden. That footage changed everything. Then something else clicked. Every homeowner Delilah targeted eventually sold their property. And every one of those houses ended up purchased by the same company, Meridian Development Group. She wasn't enforcing HOA rules. She was pushing people out. For a developer, that's when Hannah suggested something simple. Before we fight back, she said, let's read your property deed. So I went to the county clerk's office. And that's when I found the line that ended the entire war. Buried in the original subdivision documents. Lot 1, my property, was permanently exempt from HOA jurisdiction. The original developer had carved out the corner lot decades earlier for agricultural and workshop use, meaning no HOA could ever control it. Ever. 3 months of harassment. And she never had any authority at all. Instead of confronting her immediately, we made a plan. Let her go too far. Let her commit real crimes. Then expose everything. 2 weeks later, Delilah announced an emergency environmental meeting in my backyard. She arrived wearing a fake EPA badge, 2 fake agents with equipment, fake court orders, fake federal authority claiming my property was contaminated. 30 neighbors watched the show. She even threatened Child Protective Services against Sophia. That was the moment I decided she'd talked long enough. I walked inside, opened my kitchen drawer, pulled out my property deed. When I returned, she was announcing federal seizure of my land. I held up the document. My property deed says otherwise. My attorney stepped forward and read the exemption clause aloud. Silence fell over the entire yard. Then the city councilman I'd invited confirmed no federal investigation existed. A local reporter filmed the whole thing. Delilah's fake agents quietly ran for their van and drove away. The entire scam collapsed in about 30 seconds. Within a week, she moved out of the neighborhood. The FBI opened an investigation into her property acquisition scheme. Multiple homeowners joined lawsuits. The fake HOA collapsed, and Pinewood Springs went back to being the quiet community I thought I was moving into. Today, my workshop is still running. Sophia's garden takes up half the backyard, and every time I smell charcoal smoke on a Saturday afternoon, I remember something important. Bullies rely on one thing: you not knowing your rights. But when you do your homework, even the biggest fake authority in the world can collapse with a single piece of paper.